Hello and welcome to Learning Plan 6.1 Lab 3. Go ahead and open up this file on the JavaScript file and put your student information in there, and let's dive right in. For this particular one, we're going to talk about how do functions speak to one another. So we're getting more and more with each step into modularization and slicing and dicing our code up so we don't have any super functions, or in other languages they're called super classes. And we want to have one function be responsible for one thing, but be able to call it from other places and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and open it up. And if we look at the HTML simply has, there's an output div ID on our pre-tag here, and then we have our script. Now in this particular lab, and you'll see this in some assignments, I have my planning list and test plan built right in. So instead of having an HTML file, we're separating a little more. And so I have a username for an input variable, a name for an output variable. I'm going to prompt the user for their name from the 6.1_3 function, store username variable, create the output variable and store the output div in it using getElementById. Call the output name and pass our username to it, and output the greeting into our div. So if we look at the end product, let me refresh my screen here. It asks me my name, I put in Clay, I hit enter, and the output, just like the example, says, hello Clay, how's the weather out there? So what we need to do is you need to create this function output name, just like the instructions say. Create a function above the lab, name it output name. We're going to add a parameter. Now functions, a lot of functions we've worked with are just empty parentheses, but notice this one has a parameter called name. You can have multiple parameters in there, so you can pass information to your function. Think of it like a temporary holding variable, temporary holding tank. So whatever I pass to my function, I can reference it using the word name in this case. So inside there I have my output variable that I declared, and then I'm grabbing out of, with the ID, my output div, that pre-tag, and then I'm saying go into there in my inner HTML and say hello name, that name is this right here, how's the weather out there? So then in my lab 6.1_3 we got to prompt them in here, and then we're calling that function and passing it to it. So here I have my variable username and I have my output. Actually I don't even need this output. Let me just get rid of that, make it cleaner. Let me just test it, make sure it works so I didn't break anything. Clay. So I think the output was a holdover. Yep, there we go. So I have my username variable here, and then I'm prompting. You guys have done that tons of times for my name. And then I'm calling the output name function, this one here. And notice I'm taking this variable username, passing it to it. So the value, in my case Clay, that is the value of username, gets passed through to this output function here of name. And then that's why when I say, it says here hello name, it's going to say hello Clay, how's the weather out there? So you can pass information from one function to another, and you can call, in this case I'm calling one function inside of another function. So all of this output name function, all it does is get the name and output it to the screen, whereas this one actually prompts them and calls that function. So I just want you to see how you can call one function from another function to try to slice and dice your programs up to make them work as effectively as possible and be easier to maintain. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know, and happy coding.